You're thinking way too small right now, man. And in this competitive world, small-minded thinking is going to get you killed. You know, there's three things that I want to touch on when it comes to the subject of why people refuse to think big and how they don't see that their small-minded, fear-based thinking is getting them into a world of trouble. Maybe right now you're in a position where you're in a job and you don't really want to be there, but you're afraid to go into something different. Maybe you don't like, the line of work that you're doing. Maybe you thought that it would work out one way, but in actuality it's turning out somewhere different. And the reason why you're still stuck in your situation is because you're thinking too small. Your small level of thinking is killing you, okay? So I want to share with you this first point. Most people are loaded with fear. But instead of being honest with calling it fear, instead they put a mask on it and call it reality. Every person has these super tiny limited goals that keeps them in a box. And then when you ask them, well, why are you shooting so low? You know what I mean? Why are you selling yourself so short? The number one response that a person would be likely to say is, well, this is reality. I'm just being real about a situation. I don't want to live in fantasy world. But here's something important that you got to understand. Your reality is not everybody's reality. So there are some things that are only real to you because of the environment that you grew up in. So here's the problem. If you grew up in the hood where nobody around you was doing well, then always being at the bottom and struggling is your perspective of reality. If you've always been, around like dysfunctional people that never really wanted to amount to too much of anything themselves, so what they do is they tell you what you cannot do. If that's the circle that you're used to hanging with, then you're going to look at that as your reality. But that reality is not everybody's reality. Like, that's not the world at large, okay? So in this Black Men's Career channel, I want to give you a prime example of what I'm talking about. I remember when I was in college, and for the most part, I did pretty well in school. I went to Baylor University. I graduated with a business administration degree. And there was one class that I was taking while I was in college that got on my last damn nerve. This class that I was taking was going to be the death of me. This class was called corporate finance, okay? And if you knew anything about corporate finance at Baylor, everybody for the most part was failing this class. Now, I would like to think for the most part that I could be a fairly hardworking guy. I'm going to study the material. I'm going to ask questions. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to do the homework. But for whatever reason, this particular class, it always was, just the death of me in not helping me, get ahead. I failed so many tests. I studied day and night, and I just could not make a good grade. Like, I literally was about to not be able to graduate on the strength of not making the grades that I needed to make in this class. And I was already in college for 5 years, so I wasn't trying to stay no longer than that, especially not with Sally Mae knocking at my front door. So anyway, to make a long story short, here I am, I'm failing corporate finance. I'm stressed the hell out. I need to be able to pass this class in order to graduate. But again, I had never made a C at Baylor. So I went from A and B to F. And so, I decided I got to go all out to be able to really get down this information. So I started getting a tutor that I was paying on a weekly basis. I started going to my professor's office hours. I was doing everything that I could. Until one day, I went to a study group with some of the top kids that was in my class. We were all getting prepared for the final exam. And as I was at the library with some of these guys and I was studying that night, I asked one of the guys that I was pretty close with, you know, how is it, man, that you're able to just digest this information in a way that comes so easy to you? How is it that you're able to, without really stressing about stuff too much and not cramming any harder than I am, how are you able to just so effortlessly go into this class and make these types of grades? You know, what's your secret? And you know what he told me? He said, well, you know, Uzziah, the reason why I'm making the grades that I'm making in corporate finance is because my father is an investment banker. I've been taught these concepts that we're going over in the class since I was 5 years old. So probably the reason why you're struggling with things the way that you're struggling is because a lot of this is foreign to you. But for me, this is second nature, right? So what he was telling me was, even though something might have felt difficult to me, it was easy to him, but my difficulty was my reality. See, my reality is not the reality of the world. So just because I might not have grown up and had, you know, accountants and investment bankers and stockbrokers that I could point to all in my circle, up and down the block in my community, some people actually have grown up in this world where their father at 6 years old was teaching them about capital gains, making investments. And when that becomes your reality, you don't perceive something as difficult but normal. I'm trying to get you to understand that what you perceive right now as difficult or as a norm might be holding you back from accomplishing your real success. See, if you grew up in a certain neighborhood like I did, you might have been programmed mentally to think with a very low self-esteem. You might have been programmed to think with a poverty mindset. And so every time you have a thought about trying to get towards a goal or trying to be able to do something great with your life, you can never go forth with the right mindset and the right effort that you're supposed to give, because your poverty mindset has shackled you because you believe that's your reality. So if I say to you, you know what I mean, you could start a business today, and in a few years' time, you could be making whatever type of money that you want to make. That may not be something that you will believe because your reality is poverty. That's all you've ever known. So what I'm trying to get you to really take on in today's video is stop using your fear to step you back in life to the point where you think that that's the entire world. The entire world may not be thinking as small as you. There are people on this planet right now that do amazing things, accomplish incredible things, and they're no smarter than you. They're no more talented than you. They're no more creative than you, but they may have been put in an environment where everybody around them is striving for greatness, so greatness becomes a norm. I'm trying to get you to start associating yourself more around people that think big. You have to think bigger in this life. There's no way that you're going to survive on this planet if you're thinking like a guppy, but you're all around sharks. Fear and reality are not the same. But for you, chances are it is, okay? Here's the second thing that I really want you to think about. I want you to think about how there's so many people, and they'll never be realistic and honest with this, so I'm going to just call it a spade. I'm going to just give you the real deal. I'm going to keep it 100. A lot of people right now are constantly living in a party lifestyle because they're trying to medicate themselves from the pains of living an unfulfilled existence. I'm going to say that again. You got a lot of people that are on social media every single day, acting like they're partying it up, living it up, popping bottles, always in the club, doing all of these things, and you're looking and you're like, well, damn, does this person ever work? Does this person, you know, have anything of substance going on in their lives outside of entertainment? You know what I mean? Like, if you're somebody that is balancing your life in a certain type of a way where, you know, you work hard, you play hard, and you're doing the right things, then that's okay. But what I'm saying is, you have a lot of people in society today that are spending so much time partying and trying to pretend that that's the life that they really want to live. And at the end of the day, that's just a mask for them not accomplishing what they want to accomplish out of life. And so they are overcompensating for that by constantly partying. Listen, anything in life requires a balance. You might love eating desserts. I love eating chocolate cake. But just because I love eating chocolate cake don't mean I want to eat chocolate cake every damn day. It don't mean that I want to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. So if you don't have any variety in your diet, if you're not balancing things out, if you're not adding contrast, then to some extent, life becomes unsatisfying. Life becomes dull. And it doesn't matter what it is that you're doing. If you keep doing the same thing over and over and over again, eventually things are going to get worn out. Okay? So I want you to be bold enough, if this is you, to stop hiding behind comfort. I don't care if your comfort is watching Netflix. I don't care if your comfort is going out to the parties every single night. I don't care if your comfort is you drowning away your sorrows. The true reality is you're killing yourself. You're doing yourself a disservice in life because you have persuaded your mind to thinking that a happy life is about feeling comfortable and feeling pleasured the entire time as you go through life. Listen to me. Go to any person that might be a little bit older, right? Start talking to people that are 50 years old, 60 years old, 70 years old, 80 years old. And I guarantee you that for any one of them that feel a real sense of fulfillment in their life, I guarantee you that fulfillment came on the strength of something that they accomplished that was hard at the time that they did it. See, if you just try to comfort your way through life the entire time, you're never going to have anything that's going to bring you real joy. Everything that you're doing, you know, just for the moment and just for the party is just a cheap thrill. It's not filling you. You know how, like, if you eat a bag of potato chips, you're eating calories, but it's empty calories. That's how it is when you build your life around all of these indulgences, hoping that it's going to give you enough fulfillment to last you past the things that you wanted to accomplish but haven't. So don't allow yourself to fall into that trap. The third and final point that I'm going to give you in today's video. If you have not yet subscribed to this channel, now is the time to subscribe because I'm trying to help see you make it as a brother. I want you to understand that if your dreams do not scare you, you are not dreaming big enough. You've got to get out of your version of reality. Get out of reality. Because whatever you're thinking is real to you may not be real to somebody else. So if you step in a restaurant and you pay $50 on a tab and you think, wow, damn, I spent a lot of money. Somebody else could walk in the exact same restaurant and look at that as chump change. So in their version of reality, they were going out for a bargain, but in your mind, you just went out and lived a life of luxury. Oftentimes, your reality is what you make it, and it's based upon the things that you put in your brain, the people that you have in your circle, and the books that you read. All of those things play a part in your learning. Everything that you learn plays a big part in what you think, because as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he, okay? So here's what I want you to do. I want you to leave me a comment below, and I want you to tell me about an area in your life where you're selling yourself short. I want you to tell me about an area in your life where you are thinking too small. So for some people, this could be in your health, right? Maybe you want to be in much better shape, but you've already sold yourself short. And maybe one of the reasons why you've sold yourself short is because you've grown up in an environment where everybody might have been out of shape. Everybody might have had certain, medical disabilities. So you feel like that's your prison. Is it health? So a lot of you might be feeling like it's your career. Maybe because you don't come from a long line of business owners, you feel like you can never be a business owner. And because of the fact that you are afraid to start the business that you've always wanted to start, you look at that fear that you have, but you say to other people, I'm just being realistic. Look at how many businesses fail. This doesn't have nothing to do with how many businesses fail, but rather how scared you are to actually live your best life. Leave me a comment below. Tell me about something in your life that you walked away from because you were too afraid and you were thinking small. Think big or you're going to die. See you on the next video.